so far on legislation. I just talked to our chief clerk of the House, and we're about 50% behind as far as bill introduction compared to last year. And so I don't know what that portends for the future. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing if we're creating less laws for everyone, so I'm not necessarily complaining, but there's going to be several big issues that come up this year that'll keep us very busy, and I'm just happy to be here to answer questions, and I want to hear what you have to say and what you think about those issues. So thanks for being here. You're going to hold three now.
Jim Addis, District 4, first session. And I was telling you somebody earlier, the first week is a little interesting. You're getting used to rituals and the way things get done. Second week, you get a little more in the groove. And then in the third week, it's becoming comfortable. And I think when you're comfortable, you can make good decisions and things get done. I'm fortunate that I'm on some committees that are very, very interesting and go towards what I'm trying to push is economic improvement for Idaho, less regulation for Idaho. I'm running, I got one bill RS, and I've got 4 coming, and they're going to be very interesting. It's ranging from, we think, from antitrust law to some tax initiatives. So it's a thrill. There's a lot of good people down there. We give a lot of people a bad name, but there's a lot of good people down there trying to do good things for Idaho. And it's a great opportunity, and it's a great experience to the rest of y'all. Thanks.
Hey Jim, before you pass it on, why don't you explain what RS is? We've got people in here who are not familiar with it.
Well, essentially that's the first stage of becoming a bill. You get RS does stand for routing slip, which is why I didn't try to explain it that way. It is what you it's a number assigned to a bill that you want to get done, and you take it to committee, and if the committee likes it and it gets out of committee, you then officially start the bill process, and it goes on. So that's what an RS is. So.
My name is Tony Wisniewski, and I represent District 3, which is Post Falls, Rankin, and Worley. I'm also a freshman representative, and the first word I would use for the first day of session, the first week, was overwhelming. There's a lot to learn, just the layout of the Capitol, who does what, how to find your way around the process, answering emails, phone calls, regular mail. It is somewhat overwhelming, but after the second or third week, you get used to it. I serve on the Education Committee, Local Government, and Commerce Committees. Some of the things that I'm interested in this time are property rights. There's some bills that are being proposed to protect agricultural land from being annexed into towns, as well as forest land. There's also a big discussion about the educational funding formula, which is new this year, which will help determine how much allocation we give to individual school districts. And I'm honored to be here and humbled to serve in the House of Representatives for the state of Idaho. Thank you.
I'm Ron Mendive, Tony's seatmate, or Representative Wisniewski's seatmate. I'm actually starting my 4th term, which is amazing. It goes by fast. I don't know, years just kind of roll together, and I'm really stunned that it's been out there that long. It's so busy that it passes so quickly that it's just hard to keep track. But I'm on my 3 committees are education, and education is the funding formula is big. We're in the process of learning what is planned there. It's interesting that winners and losers. Lakeland School District, which is in my district, is a loser. And basically, they're losing as near as I can determine, because I have not been able to get my questions completely answered yet. In talking with the people that are in charge of this yesterday, a meeting, a small meeting, so we could ask our questions. And basically, they're saying, Lakeland told me that The reason they lose up to $1.6 million a year with this new formula, they're one of the big losers, would be because their teachers, they've had that for a number of years. And so the current formula gives, appropriates money for teachers by length of service, it's a career ladder, by education things, and you get to a point where you get to maximum teacher compensation. The new one took an average, so you take a district like Lakeland, who has done a really good job of keeping their teachers for a long period of time. They, in average, they got hurt. So $1.6 million is just a road too far. We're going to have some major issues on that in the funding. So we're learning it, and the legislature should have to decide a number of things on this. And so anyway, I'm sure that'll come up more during this meeting here, and I do appreciate everybody being here. Also, another committees are resource conservation, and this time I'm actually chairman of local government. And I'm looking forward to questions. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. I know there's a lot of other things you can do on a Saturday morning, and thank you for your interest and involvement in what we're doing. First thing I'd like to do is read a letter from Senator Cheatham, and it explains the reason he's not here. It says, I'm recovering from a pulled neck muscle, which prevents me from even turning my head, and an accompanying cough and cold, which has slowed my recovery. I want to express my sincere appreciation for all of you in the Central Committee, for all your efforts and for supporting our Northern Idaho delegation. I am proud to serve on the Judiciary and Rules Committee, where we recently completed our rules review process and sponsoring individuals to various state committees and boards. And when he says sponsoring, I believe he means confirming the gubernatorial appointments. This week we had our first two pieces of legislation introduced in committee. I was asked to sponsor the first bill, Senate Bill 1004, which adds to the and amends existing law to establish the Blue Alert system in Idaho for a crime involving the death or serious injury of a peace officer.
This is not our sound system, it's not ours, so just don't blame us. Please.
So it says, thank you all, and enjoy the town hall discussion. Sincerely, What I wanted to, this is Representative Barbieri and I are the senior most members now of the Kootenai County delegation, which seems a little shocking to me as well. Last year I was elected as Assistant Majority Leader in the Senate, and I was re-elected this year, and that's quite an honor to me. But what I wanted to talk about was, excuse me, we do rules review, and I think it's important. We have a constitutional right. We're one of only 3 states in the country that has the constitutional right to review administrative rules. And so far, I'm on the Local Government and Taxation Committee, and so far, the Tax Committee has rejected 2 rules, and the State Affairs Committee has rejected a couple of rules as well. But I want to read one of the rules that the Tax Committee rejected. And it says that, so we pass a bill, we just passed it last week, that says we comply with the IRS code. So the federal code that determines income tax, for income tax purposes, we comply with that. And I'm not speaking here about whether you agree or disagree with that principle. All I'm talking about is how the Tax Commission tried to define the code. And they said the definition of the term Internal Revenue Code includes all uncodified provisions in federal law that relate to provisions of the Internal Revenue Code. So the first thing they're saying is, well, the Internal Revenue Code includes what's in law and anything else that somebody at some point has determined is Internal Revenue Code. Well, we didn't like that very well. And it goes on to further say, and also includes any other provision of federal law that is used to determine federal taxable income. And that was, I mean, it's just a step too far. I mean, they're saying anything that may or may, it's an unending definition. So that was too far, so we rejected that rule. And then, this one is probably something that it'd be important to you if you sell and buy and sell cars, which I think pretty much everybody does. But we've always attached a bill of sale to your automobile. And you take that bill of sale in, and that's what they charge you for sales tax. So if you buy a car for $3,000, take it in, they charge you sales tax, $880 in sales tax on that car. Well, they said there's people who are, the bill of sale is different than what they actually paid for the car. And we probably are all familiar with that. So they wanted to put in code that the price you paid for the car was the average blue book price. Or you had to prove you paid a different price. And we said, no, in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. So again, it's a privilege and an honor to be your senator, and we do happen to be in my district today, so welcome.
Thank you. I'm Mary Sousa. I'm the state senator from District 4, which is Coeur d'Alene. So thank you for coming out today on this snowy day. I really appreciate the great turnout. And I know we have a diverse group here, and I'm glad because we can have a conversation. I would first like to thank my wonderful husband, Rick. All of our spouses and families put up with a lot while we are gone full-time for 3 months. We come home for less than a day and a half, and we're pretty much exhausted, and we sleep, and we don't want to cook, so they cook for us, and they just take care of us, and then put us back on the plane, and we go back for another week. So it is a wonderful support system to have them here. This is the beginning of my 3rd term, so my 5th year in the Senate. I'm really enjoying the process, and it is going to be, I think, under our new administration, a great time to be in the Idaho Senate. We got off to a slower start this year, as one of our representatives mentioned, but I do think it's because we have a new governor, and there are a lot of new appointments in all of the departments. There's a lot that's been going on behind the scenes, and I think we're going to see a wave of new bills coming up the next couple of weeks. So we'll be back up to our regular amount, I am certain. I sit on the State Affairs Committee this term, which is going to be very interesting. I'm also on the Commerce Committee, and I'm Vice Chair of the Health and Welfare Committee. But in addition to the standing committees, I will be serving on a new committee, an oversight committee that we started in the Senate and the House. And it is the foster care oversight. It's actually child welfare. It's called the Child Welfare Oversight Committee. And that will be very interesting because it will be, I believe, the first long, ongoing oversight committee established in the legislature. So we will only meet a couple of times a year, but it'll be an interesting process. I also am part of the opioid planning task force for Idaho. And we all know that that's a big concern that touches us in so many ways. I would like to just give you a little bit of information to start the conversation out. And Boise State University just put out a public policy survey. It came out moments ago. I mean, it is so fresh off the presses. 60% of the people that they surveyed, which was 1,004 citizens of Idaho all over the state, 60% said that they believe the state is going in the right direction. So that's good news. They also, this 1,004, said that their top issues are, number 1, education. Number 2, the economy. Number 3, healthcare. 4 is growth, and 5 is transportation. So that's an interesting priority list. I hope we get to have conversations about some of those today, and thank you for being here.
Cumbersome at best. I too want to thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to come speak to you. I want to commend Senator Sousa for being able to get some sleep on the weekend as a president. I am still on business. I am on state affairs, and I am on local government, which I don't know if Representative Mendive mentioned it, but he's the new chair of local government. I've been working with several individuals about several different types of bills. We're working on adoption, trying to simplify those things. We're working on some pro-life issues, well, there's a number of things that I'm sure we can bring up as the conversation goes on. I look forward to your questions, and let's begin.